welcome to Planet Sci-Fi from the makers of Planet Marzipan. I'm your host, Craig Houston. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Planet Sci-Fi. I'm your host, Craig, and I am joined this week by returning guests of Stuart Chandler.
Hello, fellow travellers.
I'm also joined by Mikie here.
Hello, hello.
And also the legend that is Mr. Tennick.
Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. In better condition than what these people end up with, in would you?
God, yeah.
It's not a good look.
We are back with the second part of our Sam Neill special, and this is Mikey's choice.
It most
And
certainly
we
is.
are looking at the 1997 Paul Anderson film Event Horizon. Infinite space, infinite terror.
Just knowing this is Mikey's choice. Should we worry about you, Mikey?
I would start beginning to, yes.
So, it's 1997 science fiction horror film, which came out at the end of August. I remember this specifically because we went to see this on the Saturday night before we left. Me and Mikey left our jobs at Dickens to set up our business.
Yeah.
So we went to see this on the Saturday night, and we left the company that we worked for on the Sunday. And that night, when we went to bed and then woke up on the morning, the world changed a little bit because it was the night that Princess Diana died in the car crash in Paris. So that
And not to
was,
speak ill of the dead, but she spoilt our last day in work.
she did spoil her last day at work, so a little bit of a.
We had a playlist made. We had a works tannoy system which took C90 tapes. So me and Craig had spent all week with these fabulous songs that we love from Queen, Marillion, etc., etc. Some joke songs in there, like, you know, say hello, wave goodbye, and so long,
basically
farewell.
the theme was goodbye.
Yeah.
Now, when she died, we couldn't really play that, could we?
Well, no, I think we got about 10 minutes of it being played, and then the store manager quickly whipped it out and slapped in panpipe moods, and everybody was just morose for the entire day. And we were like, we're supposed to be having a party, and we ended up sat on the edge of one of the beds in your department and just had faces tripping us up all day. I mean, God bless her. She deserved a better send-off than we gave her, but just spoiled our last day at work, and I'll never forget it.
Spoiled our last day at work. Yeah. So, Stuart, I'll start with you. Did you know anything about this film when it first came out? What was your first encounter with it?
I went to see it on the opening week, I believe, in Wakefield with my wife, now wife, then girlfriend, and I think I'd read about it again in Empire magazine in the run up to it. Was thoroughly intrigued and thoroughly enjoyed myself. What a nasty piece of work.
See, Grae, did you see it first time?
I did. I saw it when it was in the cinema the first time round. I think I went to see it. I'm sure somebody had made the comment about it being Hellraiser in space or something. I was like, I'll have a bit of that.
Yes.
I will have a bit of that.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever been quite the same since. So, yeah, it's really quite something.
Yeah, I'd say, with what Mikey said, it was a film that we'd seen the trailer for, and we were like, oh, we'll have a bit of this.
Yeah, absolutely. It amazes me to this day I mean, I know why Paramount approached this guy, because obviously Paul had done Mortal Kombat, and had done Big Sticks, and so they were like, "Oh, do Mortal Kombat 2," and he was like, "No, no, I'm not doing that," kind of thing. And he wanted to do this property, which he was, aware of. Initially, the story was about a ship that went missing, but it was being taken over by aliens. And obviously, he didn't want to do tropes that had been done before. So it did get reworked. And I don't think Paramount got what they thought they were going to get. Paramount being Paramount, were probably thinking we're going to get a dark version of Star Trek. And I don't think it was quite what they envisioned, but we'll talk about that a bit later.
So just a brief setup of the story. In 2047, follows the crew of the rescue vessel Lewis and Clark, not Lewis and Clark, so it's no Superman reference. Lewis and Clark. I mean, that's a big thing in America. Those two characters, aren't they?
Lost on me at the time.
Yeah, yeah. If you know your American history, they are sent to investigate the reappearance of the Event Horizon, a spaceship that mysteriously vanished 7 years prior during its maiden voyage trip to Proxima Centauri, and has reappeared in orbit around Neptune. And the crew are accompanied by the ship's designer, Is it Dr. Weir, isn't it?
Yes.
Weird, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's quite funny because I keep thinking when I was rewatching it, Doctor Weird, it's Stargate Atlantis. Played by Sam Neill. Now, the cast of this film is great. I mean, you've got Lawrence Fishburne as well as Sam Neill, Kathleen Quillan, Jolie Richardson, and you got Sean Pertwee, legend.
Love Sean Pertwee.
Oh yes, and we also have Mr. Malfoy himself, captain of the USS Discovery.
Yeah, I mean, it's great because it's sort of, these are guys sort of either a couple of years into their massive fame or just a couple of years away from the massive fame, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was. Jason Isaacs was pretty much not really very well known that much back then, but yeah, I mean, it's a cracking cast of like British actors and things and stuff in there. So, Mikey, your pick, your choice, get stuck in.
I think I knew what I was going to get after we saw the trailer, because we were very much like, oh my God, this is going to be awesome. I think even in 1997, when we watched it, you could tell that a certain amount of money hadn't been spent in the right areas when it came to the CG work. As it transpires, a lot of that boiled down to the fact that production went on too far. Post-production was supposed to have 10 weeks. They got 4. The reason for that was because a bit of Paramount fiddling, but mostly Paramount wanted it to be run by a test audience. Unfortunately for them, the original cut of the film was about 2 hours and 10 minutes. And when it was presented to the test audience, not only did it not have visual effects on it, for the most part, but it also had a lot of sound effects that weren't ready. So when they were presented with some of the more visceral elements of the film visually, they weren't accompanied with sound. So a lot of the test audience just went, this is rubbish. Paramount then basically put their size 10s in and said, cut half an hour out. And that is essentially what we got. The unfortunate thing is that the poor guy who was directing it, he was in control of the second unit filming as well as the first unit. So most people would have like an assistant director on board just to do the, close-up shots and the nasty evil hellish parts of the film, but he wanted to be involved in all of it. And I think that didn't help with production times going over. And as a result, all of this wonderful material, cut scenes, deleted scenes, whatever, ended up down a salt mine in Transylvania. So whether any of it could be recovered is the stuff of legend. Some people say it was degraded to the point where it couldn't be used.
Yeah, spoiler alert, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, some people say that it was so obscene and violent that they didn't want it to be reseen or reshown. Allegedly, the producer has a VHS copy with the original cut on it, but the director to this day has not seen it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, but the director has outright said a director's cut of this movie will never be made. And it's a shame, I think, because, I think in this day and age, it would be tolerated more than it would have been in 1997.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to see because Paramount, they like the science fiction because obviously they're the home for Star Trek, but back in the day as well, for anything that Paramount have done, especially it's notorious for Paramount cutting the Star Trek budget and trying to they want things out at a certain cost level, and they'll always fight you to cut your costs down and to reduce production time. So all the way through like the original Trek films and all the way through the Rick Berman era of Star Trek, they were always very, very cost conscious on the budget, and it wasn't until they got to J.J. Abrams' time where they basically just opened the financial floodgates to let them spend a big amount of money. But I think looking at this, I think as well that with Paramount, the year previous, I guess shoehorn a bit more Star Trek in, the year previous, Star Trek First Contact had been a big success for Paramount. And with the Borg storyline, it had a horror element to it. It had a body.
It was quite dark for Star Trek, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, even Picard's moments of he's moments,
Yeah. So I think that the success of First Contact, and they say, well, look, we can do an adult horror science fiction for you. I think that'll have helped grease the wheels to make this thing actually happen.
But I mean, also Paramount would have been also well aware that a hard R rating means a failure at the box office before you've even put the movie out. So they had to play it carefully, and to all intents and purposes, I kind of understand it. But it's a shame we didn't get the movie that it was promised to be.
Yes.
It was a catalogue of errors, though, wasn't it? So there was
loads.
I mean, they blew the budget on. So the special effects budget, a lot of it went on that space station on Earth scene.
Yeah.
But then the time for editing the movie got cut because they pulled it up on the schedule. There was all these things, which we hear so many now. The studios getting involved in changing stuff, and like the director's vision disappears and it becomes a studio release, and it's a shame. I mean, it really is, because if they'd had the extra 4 or 5 weeks for the editing, if they'd had the budget to do the effects properly, and some of the space effects are abysmal. We talked previously about the hybrid technologies and what have you in the last episode about using CGI with physical effects, and this film does it badly. I mean, don't get me wrong, the scenes inside the spaceships are great. The actual physical sets are really, really good, and the physics. But when you've got the spaceships, or that you've got the ships in space and all that kind of stuff, you can see it's mats with models, as opposed to being made to believe that it's something actually traveling.
It's a shame, really, because the model work was outstanding.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
I mean, I think there was
the design's really
models.
good.
There was about 14 models of the Event Horizon actually made, and I think they said there was about 27 in all. made between like the orbiting space station and the rescue ships and things like that. And the sets cost them a fortune as well. I mean, they used the Bond stage in Pinewood to
Yeah, I was gonna
build
say it was
the
shot over
actual.
here, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So
At one point, they were using 7 sound stages in Pinewood.
yeah.
Mental.
It absolutely mental. And the annoying thing is I believe Paramount literally had a date written on a calendar, and they would not move that date for
Yeah,
anybody. I
but-
can't remember what other film it was for now. It was
Titanic.
mentioned.
Titanic.
That was it. That was
Titanic.
it.
Titanic
Yeah.
got pushed back because of the effects, so they pulled
Yeah.
Event Horizon forward and said
Yeah.
you will release on this date.
But you've got to look at the history of Titanic though, because Titanic wasn't a Paramount film. Titanic is a 20th Century Fox film, but it went so far over budget, and the 20th Century Fox were properly bricking themselves that they did a deal with Paramount for certain territories, I think including the US, that Paramount were going to distribute the film for 20th Century Fox with a co-production deal. Well, it's not because it was already produced. Yeah, it was the film was already produced, but because Titanic was looking just before it was released, everybody was so nervous about it because it was costing so much money. That's why they did the deal with Paramount, because they thought if this bombs, it's gonna kill the studio.
Wasn't it James Cameron that was wanting to do Event Horizon as well?
I don't know.
And
But yeah,
he said, "You're lucky I didn't get it because it would have been more violent."
Yeah. So since Paramount did the deal, they had to shift around their release schedule for the summer of '97, and let's say Event Horizon took the hit for needing to come out of the gate early.
Yeah. So the inspiration around the script change, anyway, rewinding 10 minutes, was that the director used 3 movies as his point of reference, because essentially what he wanted was haunted house in space.
Yeah.
So
I've got that written down.
it was the 1972 film Solaris, the 1963 version of The Haunting, and of course there was The Shining.
The Shining.
And the thing that he wanted, which wasn't a resolved ending, it was kind of ambiguous and not nicely tied up. And I think that's what we got in spades as well. I think the story for me was what hinged it. And it isn't just about this ship that disappears, travels to a different dimension, comes back and is essentially alive. It's the fact that the ship itself haunts people and preys on them until their death, whether that be brought about by their own means or the ship's means. And it's either sin or guilt. People that are racked with guilt through things they've done or things that have happened to people that they've loved. And it amplifies that in the person's head. And I just thought that was what struck me the most about the movie. It wasn't the viscera or the horror or anything like that. It was the personal side of things. It was
Like
Dr.
a
Weir
purgatory type
who's
thing, isn't it?
yeah, Dr. Weir who lost his wife to committing suicide, and he had that guilt, and that's what the Event Horizon entity preyed on, you know, and that and the fact that that guilt manifests itself to change Weir to what he became later on in the movie. From a science fiction point of view, the explanation about bending space and traveling from one point to another has been done so many times before.
Oh yeah,
you know,
it's science for dummies stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, is this spice melange used in this at any point?
It's several things in this though. It's sort of like they're explaining stuff, and you think,
yeah,
well, they should really know this.
yeah.
Especially in 2047, for God's sake.
Yeah.
But the actual drive, the heart of the ship itself is one of the most beautifully constructed pieces of set I have seen in ages. I've got the 4K edition of this movie, and
same here. Yeah.
I mean, it just looks absolutely stunning.
It's the Eye of Harmony, though, isn't it?
Essentially, it's kind of like it's a mashup of the Eye of Harmony and something from Stargate, isn't it? Just those three circles that are spinning around, and when they all line up and do that bright flash, it's unnerving. There's something cripplingly not right about it when you see it. You know, awesome piece of work. And the fact that they are actually creating a singularity within a ship. And I was thinking, and rebuild CERN, how many ships is it?
I've written down in my notes, you see CERN, that's why you don't make black holes.
But even the design of the ship itself, I mean, they literally scanned exteriorly and interiorly the Notre Dame Cathedral to create elements of the Event Horizon. So if you were to look at the ship from above, it is in the shape of a cross, the same way that every cathedral is that's built. And the interior, if you were to look at the columns, for example, that are in the medical bay, these beautiful funneled things that just come out of the ground almost like church arches. It's absolutely stunning.
So
you know, there's
it's weird because see that first scene where you pull back and you see the whole of the Event Horizon from above.
Yeah.
My first thought was that looks like a skeleton of a bird of prey. As in Klingon.
Yeah.
It looks like with a that was the first thing I thought. But the interior is so the vaulted columns and all that kind of stuff. It's brilliant. It's so well done.
And you've got like if there's the medical bay again, the back windows are all stained glass. Yeah, you know, just absolutely stunning, really beautiful.
I mean, thinking of the kind of trope where essentially wherever the ship has been to become possessed or to have some kind of like either some kind of sentience of the ship or some kind of like manifestation of it. You know, I'm thinking of there's a few films and a few things where ships or something's happened to something and it's changed. Even you go to like V'Ger or Star Trek the motion picture. You've got a probe who's fell through a black hole, was retrieved by an alien race, given some kind of sentience, sent on its way back home to learn all that's learnable to join with its creator. So essentially Star Trek the motion picture could have been a horror film if it had been done for not like a benign reason.
But some say it is.
I was thinking it, I just didn't see it.
But also a film where you've got some kind of dark theme like this as a kid's film. You go back to 1980 and Disney's The Black Hole, where Reinhardt, you've got the ship, the Cygnus, who it essentially goes through the black hole and basically joins the damned in hell. So that I mean, if you watch The Black Hole, the ending is as dark as dark. It's purgatory. And a year after this, I'm going to go a bit of a wild one, is Babylon 5's third space film, where you've got a ship, a massive like mile long ship, who's come through from a different, essentially like a different realm, and that's all like haunted, and people are getting visions of things, and it's so again, this was a year after. It was a year after this, so there is not saying like a trope, but there is different stories based on this kind of theme of something going somewhere and coming back and being
Yeah.
changed.
I think the thing I liked
Or
about
things
it
changed.
was when they're on the Lewis and Clark and they're like scanning the ship and they're looking for life forms and what have you. They said there was like life form readings, but they couldn't like
Tell what it
pin them
was.
down, so to speak. They were like kind of appearing and disappearing all over. And like it was the first nod that these aren't actually ghosts; it's the ship itself that that's giving off the life sign reading, because it was unintelligible what they were going through. Not in, I mean, with like you were saying about those films, Craig. I mean, you've also got like a nautical version, which is Ghost Ship,
Yeah.
which is another film I love, and episode 2 of Strange New Worlds. That's just it. You know, it's I think since its release, Event Horizon, obviously it's one of these films that obviously did not make its money back by the box office. Sold a shed load on DVD. Paramount go, oh, do us a director's cut and we'll do a special edition. No, we can't do that because the footage is lost. And they're like, oh, bugger, we've shot ourselves in the foot there. But it has gained more love, I think, as the years have progressed. And I see so much of Event Horizon in, you know, other things that have been made and produced in the last 20 years. So much. But equally, I mean, the look of the Lewis and Clark, for me, was a major nod towards the first Alien film. You know, you've got really lovely keyboards with big chunky buttons, and
it's a used future, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. It's that future retro thing going on, but like it was like almost submarine kind of. You could tell it was like almost like a military use. But an interesting thing is they actually got the costume designer who worked on the original Alien film to do the spacesuits. So when you first see the crew boarding the Event Horizon, it's that guy who did the alien suits. And he's when they were making Alien, obviously, which was captured in the film, there was the problem with the condensation in the helmets. By the time it got to Event Horizon, he knew how to fix it, so he was happy to do, you know, a spacesuit design again and actually do one with fans inside to keep the condensation down. And it was nice. I mean, they obviously don't look the same, but it was that gentle nod. You know, you've got somebody on the crew who knows what they're doing and knows how to make it effectual. Just one of the few little things about the movie that grounds it for me. And for all of the CG misgivings, like when you first see the stuff floating around in zero gravity, you just think, oh no, I could have done this better myself. Yeah, but it doesn't detract from the heart of the film.
Not at all.
You know,
and the actual set design is something else to behold.
Yeah. To think how much of that they built. I mean, even
having seen it on the making of, you know.
Like the rotating corridor, which they nicknamed the meat grinder, which, you know, is meant to disorientate you as you're walking through a tunnel. You've got this big thing spinning around. You know, it absolutely astounding stuff. Simply made, I'm sure, by very skilled craftsmen. You know, but it's such a simple idea that just plays out visually so well. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning.
So do we know, or have we got any inkling with the lost footage of what they actually filmed, how it might have changed the film at all, or is that something that's just lost to the mists of time?
I think it's lost. I mean, there's talk about some scenes and what have you, but from what I've read, and I think, I mean, the last mention of them having that VHS that they had was 2017, 2018 was the last time it was kind of muted.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's ever been any details as to what was taken out, apart from a bucket load of violence and grotesqueness.
Because didn't when the filmed there's the crew of the Event Horizon, which you only see clips on the video. I think that was supposed to be longer and gorier and
Yeah,
sexier and something like that.
there was more of them getting on board the Event Horizon. There was more with Dr. Weir and his wife, and there was a lot more visceral content. I mean, what they allude to on the special features on the Blu-ray, I can't imagine adding up to 30 minutes plus. So there must have been a lot more getting trimmed here, there, and everywhere. That being said, they did say, like, for example, there's that bit where Lawrence Fishburne sort of like rests his head up against the hull of the ship and he gets these flashes. The director basically said, a lot of these flashes would be more consistent, they would be longer, more sustained. You would see the images on the screen longer. So I think a lot of it was just the fact that he didn't have time, because he said these flash cuts were actually very time consuming for him to do, and because he didn't have time to make them, they just didn't get put in. So a lot more of those flash cuts would have been running throughout the entire movie, to my knowledge.
Now, musically, it was Michael Kamen who did the soundtrack for this.
Did score, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and saw him once when he was with David Gilmour at the Royal Festival Hall. He was his I think he was musical director for those gigs, playing piano. So there you go.
Yeah.
He do License to Kill? So
He did do License to Kill, yeah. So basically, the director wanted Orbital to do the soundtrack. The Paramount basically said, "Not on your Nora and Nelly." So Michael Kamen was approached because he was open to suggestions. And basically what he did is he turned up at this hall with a 24-piece orchestra, and basically jammed with Orbital, creating sounds and stuff that they could take away as samples to do their stuff. Michael Kamen would then go off and score the movie, and Orbital did the old-fashioned movie up on a wall, playing along to stuff. So there's more of Orbital's work on the soundtrack than what there is on the movie, but they get the more action-packed stuff. So you hear Orbital, on the end credits and stuff, but the scene where Lawrence's character is basically setting the bombs off and the whole explosion going down the neck of the ship, that was one of Orbital's scores as well. So
that's why that'll be why Michael Kamen's he's not credited as the composer, he's credited as the orchestrator.
Yes.
Right, okay, that makes sense.
I remember getting told by a sniffy publicist that it's not a soundtrack. I was like, oh, okay.
So I mean, it didn't do what it was meant to do. I do think predominantly it was the fact that it was rushed out and released at the end of the summer. If it had been held back as a Halloween movie,
yeah, I think an
given
autumn release
time
certainly, or even allow them to release it at the start of the following year. In quieter times when there's less blockbusters getting pushed out. It's a shame. It's an absolute shame because this, I mean, for me, and I love my science fiction, but this is in my top 5 science fiction films of all time for me. And again, it isn't just about it's the story first and foremost. I think the blend of the cast is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. The
What
set
month was it
pieces,
released? Was it August?
End of August, yeah.
end of August, yeah. Yeah. I just think it's just criminal that it didn't do what it was aspired to do.
But
I think,
Paramount have
unfortunately, I think it was just tarnished more from the horror point of view than what it was the science fiction.
Yeah, but Paramount have done something similar in screwing up release dates wise, because you look at Star Trek Nemesis,
Mm-hmm.
right? That was it 2003? The
Yeah.
Christmas of 2000, it was 2002, 2003. And it was put out a few days around the time that Harry Potter film was coming out and Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers and stuff. You know, some of the
Mm.
absolute
Good effort.
behemoths. Yeah. So why would you, after 2000, December 2002, so why would you put your, it's your franchise. It's something that, all right, Star Trek at that time wasn't at its performing at its best. Enterprise was still going, and things were not good in the house of Star Trek at the time. But why would you put it up against some brand new franchises on that Christmas market instead of holding it back for like the new year? Release it at a time where you can dominate the box office and you're not up against some of the new hipper franchises. So again, with this, if it had been given a Halloween horror release
Yeah.
window, would have had a chance of doing much, much better. Do you think sometimes the studios and
Well,
the
time and
market,
again.
they do it,
Time and again.
they just don't
I think
think.
also it was about possibly the marketing side of it as well. Because if you look at the stuff that came out around at the same time, so July, August, you had Men in Black, you had Contact, you had Spawn, you had Mimic, as well as, so there was a lot of fantasy, sci-fi stuff, but not the horror aspect of it, perhaps. So there was I remember that summer. I remember there being a huge amount of interest in Contact. There was a huge amount of interest in Spawn. We'll not talk about it. And obviously Men in Black was just gargantuan at the time. So even if it had been the movie they wanted it to be, it was up against a hell of a lot of attention grabbers. There's a lot of stuff. So unless you were into specifically that type of horror, that type of thing, there was so much else going on, people would have been distracted.
Yeah. And it was funny because, again, this is the second part that we're talking about, films of Sam Neill. This is where he's actually plays a bit of a bad guy.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, let's go back to Sam Neill because he's incredible in this.
Because where there has, I mean, he's played bad guys. He's played bad guys and ambiguous characters throughout his career. You're talking,
And
as we mentioned,
not least the Antichrist.
Not least the Antichrist, which we just happened to mention in our previous episode. I mean, even when he was playing like Cardinal Wolsey in the Tudors, he wasn't quite mustache twirling, but he was a manipulative baddie. But I think no matter what role he plays, we just like Sam Neill.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just great.
He's the Antichrist, but he's lovely.
Yeah,
he's one of those actors. He's got the ability to look a certain way. He uses his face as well as the acting, as well as his lines and what have you. He's got that, raising his eyebrow and giving somebody a wry look one way or another. He can bring stuff to a character just physically, which is why he's so good, I think.
Yeah, there's something about his eyes that he can flip.
Yeah.
You can look at him and he's got very engaging, attractive, drawing in sort of eyes, but at the same time, they can look right through you.
Yeah, they can drill into you.
You
Yeah.
know, if you the flip point from being just weird to what he becomes, it's just so well played, so well played. What was that vampire movie called where they were farming blood and stuff? I can't remember.
Ooh.
Because he
That
played a
one.
vampire in that and he was really
Yeah.
good in it. It's passed
Yeah.
me by.
Do a quick
I'm
search.
just doing a
Daybreakers.
Google.
That's it. Love that.
Daybreakers.
Absolutely love that.
Brilliant.
What Daybreakers did you say?
Daybreakers, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then you go from that to playing a police inspector on Peaky Blinders,
Yeah.
He was what I would call an everyman actor, and it just whatever role he embodies, he just pulls it off. There's nothing I have seen him in where I thought, I wouldn't have gone for that movie, Sam. I think he's been very careful about the roles that he chooses.
Well, be it film
Just-
or TV or anything. I mean, he's if you just look at his IMDb, he's
Merlin.
possibly one of the hardest working actors going.
I mean, one of my other favorite films of his is In the Mouth of Madness,
right.
which
Yeah.
again doesn't get the accolade that I believe it should. Hunt for Red October, he's
So
He would
it's
have
willing
liked to have
take
seen
risks,
Montana.
isn't he? Yeah.
It's like, I mean, when we were talking about this episode, Rose said to me, she goes, I hope you're doing Merlin, because he was brilliant in that as well, which is, again,
he was.
something entirely different. I'm just looking
That was
through
that was
his...
around about the same time, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we watched this over the weekend, I could see Sarah absolutely hated it.
Did you really?
Rose wouldn't watch it.
Yeah, but Sarah's a bit picky when it comes to horrors and stuff like that.
I mean, there are some incredible holes in it, sort of like nobody knows what Latin is for a start. But I think there's a bit when, we don't know what they're saying. And that it takes an engineer or somebody to say, well, I think that's Latin. Oh, yeah.
Well, even now, not everybody gets taught it, so it's...
And, but they're all doctors. Come on.
So, is there anything else about Event Horizon?
Well, there is, of course, the set of comics that have been released in the last year and a half.
Was that Were they prequels? Were they?
Prequel and a sequel.
Okay.
So there was a sequel. Sorry, teeth back in. There was a prequel called Event Horizon: Dark Descent, which was 5 issues, published between August of 25 and February of 26, which follows the crew of the Event Horizon, primarily with Captain John Kilpack. And again, it's all about these people's past. So each graphic novel basically deals with a central character, and it shows you their past and what they either did or who they lost, the guilt, the sins, all of that sort of thing, and how that's played out to become the people that they are on the Event Horizon once they've traveled through to the other dimension. Then we are 4 out of 5 parts into a sequel, which is called Event Horizon Inferno, which is set 200 years after the events of Event Horizon, and follows a billionaire who seeks to salvage the Event Horizon.
I was half expecting you to say Sigourney Weaver wakes up at a time in a stasis pod, and then.
Well, funnily enough, poor Justin, who was the one who got ejected and put into stasis afterwards, he's still in stasis 200 years later. And funnily enough, the Stark character, who was obviously the one who's left, the survivor at the end of the last film, the final girl, she's still alive. But it turns out in these comics that she's actually being killed and resurrected by the Event Horizon non-stop for 200 years. because the
Ooh.
event horizon needs life to sustain
gonna say,
itself.
Is she like Captain Jack getting buried?
So the whole premise of it is eventually this billionaire character assembles a crew to go to the event horizon, and all hell ensues all over again, basically.
Well, they sound good.
Will these billionaires ever learn?
No. And then there's dinosaurs, apparently.
Joelle Richards is the character of Stark, isn't it? The one that survived, or the one that's screaming at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, you're left with that, is Sam Neill's character actually there? Is she just imagining it?
Yeah.
The actual reality of it is that they were never rescued. That's her being tormented by the event horizon.
All right, so that last scene is what's played back. So when you like she's all right, okay. That's her.
Yeah, there was no rescue. Nobody ever came. That's the ship tormenting her for the rest of our life and death and life again.
Don't we love a happy ending?
Do we just?
And on that bombshell,
I'm going to put my hand up and say I got my episodes confused, and James Cameron wanted to make Jurassic Park and said it would have been a lot more violent, not Event Horizon.
okay,
Right, correct myself.
there you go. Well, we can now all go to bed and have nice, happy dreams and just pray that we're not stuck on the event horizon, reliving life.
With our eyeballs and our hands.
Yeah, that's something that, yeah.
We don't
Good
need
night,
eyes
Peter.
where we're going.
Good night, children. Well, I'd like to thank Michael Kay,
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for humouring me.
Stuart Chandler,
Oh, thank you.
and Graham Tennick.
I would say thank you, but I'll let you know tomorrow if I get a good night's sleep. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, and it's good night from me.
Oh, it's good night from him.
Take care.
Oh.
And
Doubled
be
up one.
kind.
Yay! We'll get it right.
We'll get it right one day.
But not today. Thanks for listening to this episode of Planet Sci-Fi from Planet Marzipan. Check out our brand new Facebook group or email us at planetmarzipanpodcast@gmail.com.